Ah, India, a land of incredible contrasts and remarkable beauty. But with 300 million of its people living on less than $1 a day, it's no surprise that aid projects are vital. Yet as I spoke with field workers throughout the country, so many of them were unsure about the impact they were making. Were their projects even effective? How do we get real evidence for what works and what doesn't? Come around the world with me on an epic journey as we investigate what really works in international aid. It's time to go beyond good intentions. Today I'm waking up in beautiful Udaipur, India. I'm about to head out to the field with researchers from the MIT Poverty Action Lab as I try to uncover what role research could play in international development.
So if you look at all this analysis of aid over the past 20, 30 years, so much money has gone into developing countries, and most of the ideas seem to be conceptually sound. But then when you look at the impact, there's really nothing. And so one of the things that Poverty Action Lab tries to do is study aid and development initiatives in a very rigorous way through randomized controlled trials.
Randomized trials for aid projects? It almost sounded too good to be true. I sat down with Buddy and Dhruva to learn more.
The MIT Poverty Action Lab came out of this realization that there's a lot of aid work done throughout the developing world, and we just don't have rigorous evidence as to what works and what doesn't. You'd never ever think of giving out a drug to the public that hasn't been tested by a randomized trial. So then why do we hold these programs to a lesser standard? In the same sense we're dealing with people's lives.
One of the field projects they are working on now is investigating if it's possible to combat high levels of anemia by adding iron to the flour at local grain mills.
If we're going to fortify flour on a decentralized level, we'll randomly choose 50 villages out of 100 and offer the fortification program in those villages, but not in the others. And then over the course of a year or two, we'll track the changes in both the treatment villages and the control villages. And at the end of the study, we'll know for sure that any differences seen in health levels is simply due to our program.
He enters all the people who come to this Chakki, who accepts and who also rejects the fortification. So he maintains that record.
Based on the logbook, it seems that 98% of his customers accepted the fortification, and they apparently notice a difference as well.
So he says that if he eat this fortified flour, he gets strength, he gets stronger, and he doesn't get diseases.
Preliminary findings from the randomized trial confirm these impressions. The iron fortification intervention is having a noticeable impact on the anemia levels in the 67 test villages compared to the control villages. When the study is complete, the data will likely indicate that this is an intervention worth investing in. Another randomized trial they are conducting is a monitoring program for village nurses. Bhagirath informed me that 56% of the time they had found that local clinics were closed because the nurse was off doing home visits. So they're now requiring nurses to be in the center 3 days per week, and they monitor their presence using a tamper-proof time and date stamp along with random visits.
So today is Monday, and we expect A&M in the government sub-center.
But there appear to be some problems with this intervention. Yet there's another side to this story.
It probably is true that it does hurt a rapport with the community by not visiting the houses. However, I think this is sort of a short-term problem because as it is now, no one even thinks of coming to the sub-center because it's always closed. But the goal is that hopefully over a longer period of time, this will change health-seeking behavior and it'll be more optimal for everyone. Because for her to go 5 kilometers to someone's house and then come back, think of how many people could have been served if she was here and they had all come here.
So what happens if they find that the intervention is ineffective?
We do interventions, study them, and if it turns out that it's not good for the A&M to be monitored and to be stuck here 3 times a week, then that's also an important finding, so that same mistake doesn't get repeated in other places. I think that randomized trials and sort of the onus of proof that it places on aid organizations is a great thing, because we can no longer feel good about ourselves just by dumping money into a place. And the burden is really on us to show what works and what doesn't, and that we're not wasting the world's resources. And so I think this sort of paradigm shift towards evidence-based aid is going to be good for the future of aid and good for the future of development.
Could research transform the current problems of international aid effectiveness? Is it irresponsible to not have hard evidence of a project's potential impact before implementing it worldwide? Be part of the dialogue at beyondgoodintentions.com and join me next week as I embark on an overland journey through Madagascar to learn more about the Peace Corps.